on, cameras roll, time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change, we open up your eyes. We got the voices that are changing the game. Fearless, unchained, calling our names. From the struggles to the rise, we expose, we ignite. No topic too deep when you step in the light. We got the answers, spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. From the pain to the power, the lessons we learn. Voices of the people, let the fire burn. Dr. Donna, Dr. Laxley, leading the way, guiding the truth in a world full of gray. Experts, activists, voices untold. Everyday heroes with stories so bold. This is more than a show, it's a movement, a spark, illuminating shadows, bringing light to the dark. We got the voices that are changing, be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. Step into the spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. We got the voices, spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. And if you want the real, then tune in right now. We're breaking down walls, no backing down. One mic, one voice, one mission tonight. Step into the spotlight, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's head to the spotlight. Let's get it right. What do?
Hello, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to In the Spotlight this Monday evening. Of course, this is the home of Unfiltered Conversations, where real talk is what we do here, and I am none other than Dr. Donna Thompson.
Yes, and I'm Dr. Laxley, and together we are your fearless moderators. At least that's what Dr. Donna told me to say, right? Dr. Donna, how are you?
I am great. I am doing wonderful today. It's Monday. I am blessed to be here, of course, with you. So I am just excited to be here. How are you doing?
Man, life is awesome. Life is awesome. We had a wonderful weekend. We had an event with Dr. Marcia and a business mixer. And man, wasn't that something special? You know,
Yes.
the room was just on fire. The synergy was just right. All kinds of wonderful people in there doing their thing. And that was awesome. That's awesome. And of course,
it was really good. I had a great time. You know, that was actually my first time ever attending an event like that. And I was very impressed. Yeah, I really was. She did a great job.
Great job. And we met some wonderful people there. And one of those individuals that we met there is here with us tonight. So, hey, look what that created, right? Look what manifested from that. But guess what, Dr. Donna? There's so much happening. Of course, I'm grateful and thankful and just feel blessed to be here with you. That's just an awesome thing. But we got some big stuff going on. So let's just move into it real fast, right?
All
I
right.
want you, we let's talk about what we do here at the A Collegiate with Purpose movement. We have a few shows, and I just want to put them up on the screen here. We have Bridging Generation Voices of Men. And I do this show with Dr. Juan Marcel. And this is a show where we bring men on, a show just for men, and we talk stuff, important things that we need to talk about that we're not talking about enough. And this week, on Wednesday, on Thursday, actually, we're going to be talking about what is there to smile about.
Ooh.
What is there to smile about? What is there to smile about? Finding strength, purpose, and gratitude in difficult seasons. All right, so that's going to be a good one. And we encourage and invite everyone to join us on this one. Even though it's a show about men, it's not. The content is more than just about men. And we have this one coming up. This one is on Wednesday at 1 p.m. I do this one on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And then this one, I have Master Chief Garfield Rowe. And we're going to talk about From Discipline to Legacy, a life of service, leadership, and purpose. So that is getting ready to go down on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we also have this one here. And you tell us about that one.
Yeah, so this one here, this is Her Legacy, one of our newest shows that we have. And it's Voices of Women Who Shape Our Generations. And this is where we speak about all the things women have to face. And this is actually on Wednesday evening at 7:30. So we ask everyone to join us as well. So one of our newer shows.
And this week we're talking about imposter syndrome. That's what we're talking about this week, imposter syndrome, right? So yes, that is happening. But let's move on to other things. We're going to Kenya. Talk about that real quick. Just bring us up to speed in Kenya real quick.
Yes, so Kenya is coming up in May, and that's going to be May 22nd through June. We'll be there for 2 weeks. And of course, once again, it's a community outreach where we'll be doing toilets at several schools. So we're looking at about 2, possibly 3 schools. And of course, visiting the orphanages where we'll do our food drive, we'll do some food supplies, and we'll do a clothing drive there as well. And we'll be taking things for the girls. We'll do our sanitary drive for the girls, and we'll do stuff for the boys as well. And then visiting with the elders in the community and speaking with various different governors and leaders within the communities just to see how we can leverage building up the communities so that, we can definitely improve the quality of life for our generation to come and our elders. So that's coming up. We have approximately 12 team members that will be traveling with us on this particular initiative. So we're just looking forward to that.
Yeah, 12 confirmed. 12 confirmed. And so we will, of course, we'll be supporting our organization over there, the Elizabeth Sitawa, community-based organization, which is a cancer organization, and we're behind it. We're supporting that, of course. So big stuff there, big stuff. Let's move on because we have a show ahead. And this is a big deal. And, we're both Jamaicans.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big deal. So talk about Beyond the Backpack and how important this is for us and for the students in Jamaica.
Yes. So Beyond the Backpack, definitely huge initiative that we have that is taking place at GHN Global Humanity Network, or nonprofit organization. And this is where we are committed to actually looking at approximately 8 to 10 students to start off with, where we're committed to supporting them through the middle school years right before they go to high school. So we're making a commitment of 3 years in supporting these students. And when we say support, we're looking at not just their backpack, their school supplies, their uniforms, their shoes, their lunches, their breakfast, their transportation to get to and from school. And it's extremely important because as we've done so much work in so many different places, one of the things that we're coming across is realizing that in communities where parents need help, one of the big things that's happening and we're finding out is children, because they can't afford to send them to school, they're missing out on their education. So it could be whether it's transportation to get them to school, or they don't have money to feed them. Some of them, they go to school only to get a meal and then they can't go back to school. So we're finding that you have children who are now entering into high school and then they're not able to read and write. And this is our generation. This is our future. So we have to start from the root to fix the problem so that we can make sure that we're setting them up for success. We can't wait until they get to high school to try to fix the problem. So I encourage everyone to support Beyond the Backpack, because this is something that we're starting small, but our intention is to make it much larger and spread it globally so that we can definitely make a difference and impact our younger generation that's coming up. So we ask everyone to support us. There's a flyer there. You have different levels of support. You have $2,000, $4,000, $8,000, $10,000, or whatever it is that you can actually support us with. We're more than grateful for it. But as long as you support us.
Indeed. So, Dr. Donna, I am not seeing you on the screen. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. We lost you from the screen. We got to get you back on.
Let's try to get me back on
Let's
here.
get you back on the screen. But I just want to say about you said we're starting small. I want to say that we're not starting small, because Beyond the Backpack is a follow-up to, we have already supported 135 students the past few months in Jamaica. So this is certainly not a small initiative with Beyond the Backpack. This is just a follow-up, a sequence. And we'll be taking this nationwide. We're starting with 8 students, and the thing is, we're going to, each year, we'll fund the student and their school program by $2,000 each year. So that's $6,000 committed to each student. So and we'll be growing that each year. But we funded $135, 135 students, all the textbooks they needed for the school year. So certainly not starting small. It's a big initiative, and we're just going to continue to grow it. What we discover is that giving textbooks is not enough. It's not enough. They need to have more than that. But we have a show tonight, and we need to get with that show. All right. So what I want to say is we're going to explore a question that speaks about service and leadership tonight. And the question is, what happened when a man who has spent decades healing individuals decided he must now help heal a system? Across our communities, Dr. Donna, the challenges we face are not merely personal. They're structural, they're generational. They are deeply connected to how people live, how they suffer, and whether they have access to care, dignity, and opportunity that they deserve. We're living in a time, Dr. Donna, when many people are dealing with chronic pain, anxiety, depression, trauma, and invisible wounds that too often go untreated or misunderstood. But beyond the diagnosis lies a deeper issue: the reality that many of our systems are not designed to produce lasting wellness. And so tonight, we're not simply talking about medicine. We are talking about mission. We are talking about leadership. So I'm going to ask you to bring on our guest for tonight.
All right, sure. So it is my honor to introduce our guests tonight in the spotlight. And we have none other than Dr. Elmore D. Alexander, DOMD, who is joining us tonight. He's the candidate of the Georgia House of Representatives, District 94. But I'm just going to give us our viewers a little background of who we're speaking of. Dr. Alexander, he's a family medicine physician with more than 30 years of experience in integrative patient-centered care. And he serves as the medical director of the US 420 DOC, an alternative plant-based medical practice that's focused on expanding safely evidence-based treatment and wellness options. And as an integrated and veteran wellness physician, Dr. Alexander has dedicated much of his work to advancing compassionate solutions for our Georgia veterans and communities suffering from PTSD, chronic pain, insomnia, anxiety, depression, and any trauma-related conditions. He's nationally recognized for his leadership. Dr. Alexander was selected among top physicians to serve with the United States Olympic Committee's medical program, and he contributed to the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games. And he has also served on advisory and leadership boards, including the North Lake Regional Medical Center, Blue Cross QCPI HMO, and as chairman of the DeKalb Family Practice Department, and on an Atlanta Regional Commission Advisory Committee supporting public health initiatives across Georgia. So, Dr. Alexander is now running for the Georgia House of Representatives, District 94, and he is seeking to address just what you touched on earlier, Dr. Stephenson, health, economic, and justice imbalances that is actually impacting our communities. So, without further ado, we welcome Dr. Alexander to In the Spotlight.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's an honor being here. Thank you, Dr. Laxley and Dr. Thompson. We met. Actually, Dr. Laxley, we actually had a conversation a little bit before the event that you were all talking about just earlier, and I had the honor of being there. And like you said, it was quite an event. There were so many business people in there from so many different walks of life that had so much experience, and they were all trying to make a difference in our communities. And so I feel honored to be here with you all because you do such great work. And for you to recognize what I'm trying to do is even more of an honor.
Welcome to In the Spotlight, Doc.
Thank you.
That was indeed a pleasure meeting you, talking to you before, and then actually meeting you in person. Certainly was one of the highlights of the evening, the conversation we had there, your contributions.
And likewise.
Awesome. Well, we have a show to do, so let's do it, right?
Okay.
And before we get into your work as a leader and all the public, everything that you do, can you talk to us about who is Dr. Elmore D. Alexander?
Well, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and spent most of my life there, my young adult life. I've actually been in Atlanta since 1976. Came here to go to school. Went to Clark, HBCU. And then I studied biology there. I had a minor in chemistry. And then I went to Atlanta University where I studied biology along with biochemistry. I did biochemical research. Went from there to medical school. That was actually, I completed my training in Iowa. It's now called Des Moines University. It was something else then, but it's called Des Moines University. And then came back to Atlanta because my heart was here. Did 1 year at North Lake Regional Medical Center. And then I transferred from there back over to the Atlanta University Center, where Morehouse had a family practice program, and decided that I would then go from Clark to Atlanta University, back over to Morehouse, where they had a family practice program, and I completed my training there. And then from there, I opened up a practice. And the program that Morehouse had was an MD practice. I was really headed towards being a naturalist, but one of my professors convinced me to talk to a gentleman who was with a osteopathic school. They call it DO, And they had more of a holistic approach to medicine. And that really fit my personality. So that's where I started, but I went the MD route as well to get some training. And over the years, I tried to integrate it. I tried to integrate both and found myself, because of the way the system is set up, I found myself leaning towards traditional medicine more than I felt comfortable with. And in 2018, there was a huge shift. I was involved in an accident where I sustained a traumatic brain injury. And for about 5 years, I couldn't practice. I was told that I had a 95% chance of having dementia. And that just didn't sit well with me. And since I had already been spending about 40% of my time teaching patients about the fact that the body had the ability to heal itself, I didn't want to be a hypocrite to my patients, nor to myself or my family. And I began looking for alternative ways of treating my problem. And there was a concept called neuroplasticity. A big word, but basically it just means that the brain has the ability to rewire itself. You know how to do it. You can't just sit there. So many times we pray on things without any action. You must have prayer, but you also must have action. And so I really dived into the data that was out there, and I found some alternative treatments. One was hyperbarics. And then I also found some plant medicine. And there's multiple herbs that I use, and there was some supplements that actually help the brain to regenerate. But something really strange that was out there, and I wasn't sure about it at first, because when I was in college, I used to use it, but for a different reason. And then for about 40 years, I didn't touch this substance. And then I found out that a lot of what the propaganda was about this particular plant was inaccurate, and it was to keep us from certain types of healing. And that plant is cannabis. It has such a bad stigma that people are scared of it. And I guess rightly so, because there are two different aspects of cannabis. One of them is its medicinal use. And as you know, in Jamaica, the Rastas use it for religious use. And then you have people who try to take it to a whole nother level for mind altering purposes. And they're developing parts of the plant where there's so much THC that it's actually detrimental to the brain. But when you use it in small doses, it has the ability to actually protect the neurons and help the neurons to fire at a different level. And so hyperbarics that I did, it brought back my memory and my ability to think, but the sharpness wasn't there. And the cannabis brought back the sharpness. And that's why I'm able to talk to you right now. And it's why I'm able to run for the House of Representatives, because now I'm functioning, if not as good, I think in a lot of ways I'm functioning better than I did before the injury.
Oh.
Wow, that's yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is I'm now leaning more towards the integrative part of the practice, where at one time I was leaning more towards the traditional practice because that's what I was being fed. The other part I wasn't receiving. How you actually get to the root cause of your problem and how you get your body to repair itself. That wasn't a part of traditional medicine. Traditional medicine deals with the symptom. And when I started looking at that, I said, you know what? There's more that our community needs to know and understand about human health and healing. And as I got better and better at that, I started to open up my thought process. And maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I started to open up my thought process and said, Our sickness goes beyond just the body. It goes into our community. And if I can't help our community to heal and bring that holistic approach to the community, we're going to still have a lot of illness within the body, because the environment affects the body, the mind, if it's not right, affects the environment. And unless we start looking at this in a holistic approach, the same way that they taught me in DO school, to look at the entire person, look at the environment, look at everything that's affecting the individual. When you start thinking about disease, if you don't do that, you're shortchanging the individual and you're shortchanging the community. And what I found was that when I went down to the State House and I was trying to find out how we move things further in our community so that we have more services, there's not a primary care physician in the House or the Senate. They're voting on our health and our wellness, and they're voting on our communities. And yet we don't have any representation. I jumped into this race.
Yeah. All right. So, Dr. Donna, I know you have a question for Dr. Elmore.
Yes, absolutely. That's some powerful information there for sure, Dr. Alexander. Because just like what you expressed, oftentimes our beginnings kind of shape a lot of things about who we are in our world, right? That we're living in. But Dr. Alexander, as you reflect on your upbringing, what values or lessons stayed with you that actually continues to guide your work today that you're doing?
Well, I got a few years on me, and I've been around for a while. And so, I was fortunate enough to be able to grow up in the 60s. A lot of my youth was really, or my, I guess, young adult years were really in the 70s. And I saw what our country was like then. And then we started making progress, and I see the regression that we have now. And my parents, my community, they all taught us to look out for each other. And then all of a sudden there's a time that came about where it's like every man for himself. But when I was growing up, we had picnics together. Community came together. Everyone talks about, the old days where, the person down the street could tell your mom about you, or they could discipline you and that kind of thing. And they could impart knowledge and wisdom to you. And then there was this age where young people felt like the older, and when I was young, they call us the sages. I'm in that sage realm now. When you start hitting around 70, 60, 70 years old, you become a sage. And so I'm one of the sages now. And a lot of times you try to sit down and you talk to young people. They're not willing to sit at your feet. And what I mean by that is I sat at the feet of elders, and I tried to gather their wisdom and find out what I needed to be doing with my youthful energy and incorporate their wisdom. And that's what I was taught. It was like a pecking order. You always respected your elders because they had lived through some things that you hadn't. And even though you may have some modern knowledge, that knowledge had to be incorporated into the age-old wisdom. We got away from it. Now we have a lot of chaos in our communities. And we need people that are sages to step back in and to have dialogue with the young people so that they understand that we can put this thing back together, that our communities, they may be a little bit broken, but they just need to be rewired, that we need new systems. And Dr. Laxley, you speak about systems. And unless you have a system in place, you're going to always have chaos. And so those are the values I'm bringing, because We have to now start working back again on our systems and making sure that we get the chaos out of our communities so we can start some real healing and start to see the progress, get that prescription of progress back. And that's what I'm doing. I am bringing that prescription that a doctor should bring, the organization of my mind, how I think about things, how I think about a human body when they have a problem. That's what I want to bring to the community. I want to impart my wisdom. But along with that, I want to find these young people that want to take over. Take over. See, I don't plan on being in this position forever. You know, a lot of people say, well, I want to be in this forever and I want to do all these things for all these years. No. I want to be a coach. But right now, we don't have anybody ready to step up. So I have to step up as the leader of my community. And then I have to develop those minds or find those minds that want to be developed to take over so that our communities continue to thrive, because they need to thrive not only while I'm here, but when I'm gone. And that is my mission.
And what a mission. So, Dr. Alexander, you've built a distinguished career in medicine.
Yes, sir.
But now, Dr. Donna said it and you said it, you're running for the Georgia House of Representatives. What led you to make that transition from physician to public service, and why?
Great question. Awesome question. You know, I found that there was a challenge with dealing with people in the exam room. They have anxiety, they have depression, they have pain. But our communities are suffering just as much, if not more. And that's why we have a lot of the problems that we have, that suffering is there. And what I found is that if we take the same approach that a physician takes in that exam room and bring it to our community, we can rewire our system and we can start to get to some healing. That is what I'm doing. I'm stepping out. I'm not leaving medicine. I'm just expanding it to our community so that the community can heal and we can feel safe. We can examine the systems that are keeping us sick, keeping us impoverished, and start to make some progress. We desperately need that. And we need people who have the knowledge, who have gained the knowledge from our communities to now give back. And that's what I'm doing. I am giving back. And I want to be that person that represents you the way that you expect us to. Not to just count you as a number, but to realize that each and every person that lives in DeKalb and Gwinnett and lives in the state of Georgia, that we're people first. We're not numbers.
Wow. That's a significant shift that you've actually made, Dr. Alexander, in what you've witnessed in medicine, that that has really demanded a different level of response in our community today that we're seeing. But to ask you, Dr. Alexander, was there a specific moment or experience where you realized that treating individual patients was just not enough, and that the systems themselves were broken and needed to be addressed? Was there a specific moment when that happened?
No, I think it was gradual. You know, I wish I could say, you know, there was like an epiphany, you know, that came about me. But there was actually a series of events. And you look at people, you look at your heroes from your community, and you see them stepping up. And I'll tell you one of my heroes, and I just kind of watched him, Deion Sanders. I watched Deion Sanders, and I watched how he raised his sons. I saw how he had to do it almost like a single father, and how he communicated with them. But then he didn't just look at his immediate sons. He had other players. As a matter of fact, every one of his players, he treated them as if they were his son. And he didn't just preach football. He preached life, because he said, not all of you are going to go to the NFL. Not all of you are going to make millions of dollars. But every one of you can contribute to make your community better, to make your family better. And then I saw him go through all this illness. You know, they cut off part of his foot, and then they had to reconstruct his bladder. He said cancer, and he's still on the sideline, not rooting for himself. He said, God won't let me do it any other way. And if I have faith in God, I can't sit down just because some things are happening to me. I got to continue to give until I don't have a breath left. And when I see people like that, my situation, my traumatic brain injury is nothing compared to what this man is going through. The controversies, the people that have gone after him, they said all kinds of things about him. And he stood strong in his faith about what he was about. He's about raising men to be men, to take care of their families, so that the next generation also takes on the responsibility of their community. And I said, you know what? When I look at this administration out here and what they're doing and how much chaos they're creating in our communities, somebody has to be that center of reason, of sensibility, no matter how much chaos they're putting out there. Somebody has to be fearless and not worry about what's coming or what they're trying to do, and say, you know what, this is what we will do to strengthen our community while you're taking the funds away from us, while you're trying to close our schools, while you're not giving health care, while you got seniors trapped in their homes and they can't get the health care, while you got veterans who have medicine that they're telling you works. And you're talking about we got to have evidence-based medicine, but you won't allow cannabis to be a Schedule 3 so we can do the research legally. But these people are telling you, I use the traditional medication. I use that Prozac, Effexor, Lexapro, Wellbutrin, and it made me feel like a zombie. Yes, it took some of my emotions and it put it into a box, but it put me in a box as well. I'm not contributing to my family. I don't feel like I'm a part of my family. I've lost my feeling. I feel like a zombie is what they're telling me. And then we take them off of it and say, look, cannabis gave me my freedom back. It gave me my life back. I'm a father again. I've already lost my wife because she couldn't deal with this. But I can be a significant spouse to somebody else. I'm back. I served my country and they turned their back on me. They're not giving me the medications and the care I need. And who's helping them? When I look at the state capitol, you know, they keep making bills all around it. Who's trying to expand Medicaid to make sure that people who can't get jobs, who are trying to work, that you're not giving them health care either? No. Somebody has to be fearless. They have to have the same mentality as Deion Sanders and say, you know what? I need some more soldiers with me. I need some more soldiers. And that's
more
what
soldiers indeed. More soldiers indeed. You know, Dr. Alexander, the gaps that you talk about, they're not abstract. They show up in neighborhoods, in families, and in the daily realities of people trying to live, trying to survive. And you're speaking from a place, you've lived it, you've experienced it, what you're talking about. So what are some of the most urgent challenges facing communities in District 94 today?
Once again, you guys have your finger on the pulse. You know that we have problems. You know, the first is, if you think about what the heartbeat of a community is, what's the heartbeat? It's our children. It's our children. We think it's our parents. Yes, our parents have to go out there and earn a living, and we do need to make sure that they can do that. And that's one of the things DeKalb County and Gwinnett Certain parts of it don't have enough jobs in the area, and so our parents have to commute long distances to make a living. So that's one of the things we need to bring. We need to bring the economic development to our areas. We need to bring it up. But the heartbeat is our children. And they're talking about closing the schools. If you close the schools, you also decrease the value of our communities. If you close the schools, what they're saying is, see, I don't think the numbers have been evaluated. The data has been evaluated properly. They're saying that a lot of children, a lot of the young people aren't having kids anymore. There's some truth to that. But what I've seen is a lot of people who have moved away are starting to come back to the cabin Gwinnett. And why are they coming back? Because they can't afford to live outside on their own. So they're coming back to their parents' houses. Mm-hmm. And while you're closing the schools, you're not looking at what the trend is. Gas prices, living prices, housing prices are getting so expensive. People are coming back to live together. Something that we did years and years ago. We lived together. You know, grandma, mom, dad, the children, the grandchildren. People are coming back. And I know you all have seen it. That the kids can't make it on their own. You know, a job paying $45,000 a year and you live in DeKalb County, but your job is in Smyrna, you spend all your money in gas and trying to keep your car on the road. When you come back, there's no money left over. So what are you going to do? You got to decrease that cost of living, that rent money. We cannot allow our schools to close, because when you do that, then you don't have good school systems. And where are the people going to go? They're going to go to where the school systems are. They're going to leave our county. And what's going to happen to our county is going to be desolate. It's going to be impoverished. We cannot let these people bean count us. We got to make sure that data is accurate. We got to make sure that it also reflects what's happening, the trend. Yes, it went down, but I think it's coming back up now. And nobody's really looking at that. And we need somebody to hold some kind of accountability and say, look, let's look at this from a perspective that we are trying to really get to the underlying problem, diagnose it correctly, and make sure that we are anticipating where things are going. Because once you close that school and then you repurpose it, you don't have a school to come back to. Let's not do that. Let's not let that happen, because the lifeblood of our community is the educational system. Let's not let that happen. Also, what is also the lifeblood of our community? Our seniors, our veterans, the healthcare system. We cannot lose this. We cannot allow monies to be diverted to other areas because the population is changing, not because we don't have the ability to grow it, but because we refuse to.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's, thank you for definitely laying out what is happening. And, even for our viewers who are watching, you're really telling us some of these extremely important problems that is happening that we're all gonna, if not, something doesn't happen, right? Then we're gonna pay the price. So the question becomes one of, real responsibility and what has to be done. And now that we know the problem, what action is needed to solve it. So my next thing for you, Dr. Alexander, is, I know that you're running, but if elected, what are the top priorities you would focus on to improve health that we've just spoken about and the quality of life in the community that you're serving?
Well, the issues that face DeKalb County and Gwinnett County are issues that are affecting the entire state. And one of the things that people don't understand, they say, well, you're in a district, I can't vote for you. Well, you can still support me. And the reason that you need to support me is because these issues affect the entire state. And when we go to the Capitol to vote on issues and the budget is a state budget. Now we're trying to get certain monies for our area, but when we vote for the entire state. And so we vote on Medicaid. We're not voting on Medicaid for DeKalb County, Medicaid for Gwinnett County. Well, the issues with Medicaid and access to care, it's the entire state. The issue of education, let's look at Georgia. Georgia's not one in the top 10, for education. As a matter of fact, we're always at the bottom. So these issues that I'm talking about, when I'm talking about fixing our area, I'm talking about fixing the state, because the state itself has to be overhauled. We need new systems for the entire state. So the legislations that I plan on signing on to and bringing forth affect Georgians, people, the monies that are being allocated away from states. We need to be fighting for that. We need to be fighting for it. And we need to be making sure that when those funds are allocated within the state, that we are looking at the data. It has to be data driven, not emotional.
Speaking like a scientist, right? Indeed, data driven. So, Doc, these priorities are very important, but the real challenge is always implementation. How do we move from conversation to implementation when it comes to addressing health, economic, and justice disparities throughout the state of Georgia?
That's where leadership comes in. You have to have leaders that, one, people trust, that they believe in. Okay? And it's very hard to trust somebody that you don't know. Okay, that's one. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here. And when I talked about mentorship, I want to mentor somebody that comes from DeKalb County. I have been here for 40 years. I have practiced here for over 30 years, closer to 35 years. I have raised my children here. I bought my home here. I stayed here. I worked here. I paid my taxes here. I took care of my house here. I dealt with my neighbors here. I've put people I've actually, back in the day, I delivered babies, and I've actually taken people to the grave here. I'm invested in the community. And so the first thing is, you need somebody who's invested. Next is, you need somebody who's trusted. You can't trust somebody that you don't know. You can't trust somebody that you don't know their reputation. I'm an open book. Go check me out. Talk to my patients. Talk to people who know me. Talk to people I've worked with. See what kind of individual I am. Am I the guy that shows up? Or am I the guy that every time the work shows up, I disappear? See? So then the next thing is, how does he communicate? Can he get other leaders to work with him? Well, my record speaks for itself. Not only was I with the United States Olympic Committee, when the Olympics were coming along, they made me the liaison between the United States Olympic Committee, called the USOC, between the USOC and the International Olympic Committee. What did I say? I said liaison. What does a liaison mean? Communicator. Communicate the needs of the International Olympic Committee, who's putting on these games, using the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games as the host, and take the knowledge from one of the greatest committees in the world, the United States Olympic Committee, and let's see if we can use these principles to have a great games. That was me. And then they brought me into the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games to put together the entire drug testing program for all of the close to 9,000 athletes that were there. So much so, they had me do a video. It's called Beat the Heat in Atlanta. That video went to every single athlete from across the world that came to the Olympic Games. My video was used to teach them about how to protect themselves against the heat and the adverse conditions that they were going to meet in Atlanta that they may not have had to compete in other parts of the world. I was that guy they brought in. I worked on the Atlanta Regional Commission, where we had to figure out where healthcare was moving, where the hospitals are going to go. And then I'm sitting here right now and I'm going, wait a minute. Do we have enough healthcare facilities in DeKalb? So here I am practicing, doing my thing in my own little world. And then I looked up and go, wait a minute. When things happen, where do my people have to go for care? We're lacking. We need dollars allocated for this. So how do we get it? I got to sit down and talk to the other leaders. And I got to be able to show them where the disparities are. And they have to trust me as well, that I'm not just filibustering them, but that I am concerned. And I will show them the data that says this is not an emotional problem. This is an invested problem. I'm invested in my community and the people here. And you guys all know it. So don't ignore me. Let's sit down and let's work this out. Let's find a way to take care of people the way that they expect to be taken care of. We call it the golden rule. When's the last time you heard about that? The golden rule. People don't even talk about it anymore, like it never existed. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that is what I was taught as a child. And that is what I live by.
Wow. Yes, so I know that we are getting close to our time. Oh my gosh. And so much information that you're sharing. And but before we want to ask, before we close, we're going to just shift the pace a little bit, and we're gonna end off with a few quick reflection questions. We call them our quick fire questions.
Woo. Uh-oh, I'm scared.
So, Dr. Alexander, we're gonna just a few quick reflections, right?
Okay.
One word that defines leadership.
Diagnostic. You must be a diagnostician. You have to be able to look at it, diagnose it, and know all the principles that go into diagnosing a problem. So I would say diagnostic.
I like that.
Wow. What is the most overlooked issue in health care today?
It's the holistic approach to medicine. It's the holistic approach to your community. And so we have to get back to dealing with the entire body, finding out where the dysfunction is, the illness. Some people like to use that when they break down disease to dis-ease. Where is the uneasiness in your community? And let's start to repair it from that level, as opposed to just looking at the symptom. So we need to be holistic about our approaches.
I hear that word a lot, holistic.
Well, I'm a holistic physician, so what can I say?
Okay, so Dr. Eisner, we're going to ask you to complete this sentence. Real change in our communities begins when?
Real change happens in our community when.
Complete
the
the
question?
sentence. You got to complete the sentence.
I got to complete the sentence.
Yes.
When you stop treating the symptoms, and you start looking for the underlying reason to get the cure. Stop treating the symptoms, because it's not always what you see. If you do that as a physician, you walk in, you see somebody limping, and you automatically think their leg is broken. They could have arthritis. They could have a tumor. They might have cancer. You can't look at the symptoms. You can't just go in there if you see a tumor and cut the tumor out and then forget that the reason that the tumor got there was because there was a part of the body that wasn't functioning correctly that would recognize the abnormal cells when they were small. So we got to look at the symptoms and say, that's not what we're looking at. If you see a child that's out there in the street and he's angry, first thing you want to do when he does something, he throws a rock through a window. Okay, yeah, all right. Maybe we have to have a system that we deal with that, and we might be some punishment for it. But it doesn't mean we need to lock him up in jail, because that wasn't why he threw the rock through the window. We need to find out, why did you throw that rock through the window? Why are you so angry? And then we need to see if we do have the means to dissipate his anger, so that now he's working with us instead of against us. He's not a cancer. Don't just cut him out. Treat him.
Can't fix it unless you know what you're fixing, huh?
It's my feeling. I agree with you.
Mine as well. All right, Doc. This has been a powerful and necessary conversation. Before we close, let's make sure viewers know how they can stay connected to your work. So for viewers watching tonight who want to support your campaign and stay connected to your work, where can they go and how can they get involved?
Thank you for that. And thank you for this interview. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to be able to speak to your public, my public, to our people. What I want everyone to know out there is that this is a grassroots effort. And you probably can imagine this doesn't sound like the typical political answers. And so I don't have the typical political backers for this campaign. And if you want somebody to represent you, then you have to help me. I need volunteers. I need money. I could use even $26 for 2026. $26 will put a sign in the ground that says, look, we support this man. $26 will put a sign in your front yard. And if you got a homeowners association, it'll put it in your window that says, you guys need to take a look at this guy, because we think we have somebody finally that would not only be a voice, but he'll work for us. And the way you do that is you go to electdralexander.com. You can volunteer. You can give me that $26. It's not coming to me. I say me, give me. No, it's my campaign. It's the campaign. I'm not taking a penny home with me. Not a penny. Not for gas, not for food, nothing. You are investing in your future. And if you need somebody to do it and you believe in what I'm saying, put me in the house, because I am bringing that prescription for progress.
Doc, before we close out again, there's a question from the audience. Is the use of CBD still being prosecuted as a crime by the authorities in Georgia? That's a question from...
Great question. Actually, you can get medical cannabis through a physician that is certified. Okay, you do have to have what they call a qualifying condition. There's a whole host of them. And you can get cannabis medication. Now, there's a difference between hemp-derived medications and marijuana-derived medications. They're both cannabis. The difference is the amount of THC that's in there. CBD is legal in most states. CBD is. It does not get you high. And as a matter of fact, for many conditions, that's all you need is CBD. but you want to make sure that you're getting medical grade, because a lot of the CBD that's out there is laced with other things, especially those that is not regulated. So I would always recommend that you get a regulated product. Right now, the governor has on his desk a bill which will expand the program even further so that we can take care of people that I haven't been able to take care of in the past. And so it looks like this thing is going to pass. It is not perfect. I will tell you that it's not perfect. There's still some work to do. And that's why I need to be in the House to make this thing even more perfect for us. We need to have good oversight to make sure that people are not getting into any kind of problems with these products. But CBD is not the problem. What everybody's talking about really is the THC portion. And we need to make sure that the THC is kept within certain realms so that it doesn't become dangerous. But the plant itself, it has so many beautiful medicinal purposes, but you need to know how to use it like a medicine. This is not sitting around smoking joints. These are medicines that are being made from it.
You hear that, Donna? This is not sitting around.
I heard that loud and clear.
Loud and clear. All right. So, Doc, is there anything else you want to add or say before we go? Anything else you want to say? This is your opportunity. Just tell us. Anything else?
Well, what I would say is that the work that I'm doing goes hand in hand with the outreach that you two are doing. And we need people like yourselves, like myself. We need to have more forums like we did on this past week with the International Jamaican Chamber of Commerce. We need more business people sitting down, talking about the challenges that they're having. And you need people like me who can go and fashion legislation, who can go and try to get monies to make these things happen, to make things easier. Like one of the problems that I've seen with DeKalb County is a couple of years ago, I was trying to get a business license. And we spent 3 weeks trying to get a business license in DeKalb County. And I could not get that license. It was so frustrating. I went to Fulton County, and in 4 hours, I got a business license. We need to have that same type of efficiency. And so I'm going to push for that, because without that, they lost a business. Now I'll bring it back. But we lost a business. We lost the taxes from my business to Fulton County because it was too difficult and I had to get that business up and running quickly. So there's a lot we need to do. There's a lot of discussions that we need to have. And I want to be a part of those discussions. I want to be a part of those solutions. I want to be a part of not the symptom, but curing the root cause. And if you will allow me to do that, go to electdralexander.com. Put me in the seat. Let me be that doctor in the house so that I can bring this prescription to change.
Oh,
please, because I don't want to see anything else happen to our community that doesn't need to happen. And we need to have some fighters. And I'm a fighter. Believe me. I fought for my patients. They'll tell you, I'm the guy that didn't give up on them. I didn't give up on them. I don't give up on them now. That's why I'm doing cannabis medicine. People don't understand it. There's a stigma. But you know what? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the stigma because I know the results.
You have lived it.
I'm living it.
You're living it. Awesome. Awesome. So again, you're watching In the Spotlight. Our guest is Dr. Elmore D. Alexander. And we're talking about the prescription of the change. All right. So Dr. Alexander, thank you for joining us tonight on In the Spotlight. Thank you for sharing not only your professional journey, but also your conviction, your vision, and your willingness to move beyond the walls of the clinic and into the broader work of public leadership, public service. Tonight's conversation reminds us that some of the deepest problems in our communities cannot be solved by treating symptoms alone. They require us to confront systems. They require us to examine policy. And they require leaders who are willing to bring both knowledge and courage into the public square. Your journey, Dr. Alexander, reflects a powerful truth that service evolves, What begins as care for individuals can become a commitment to change the structure that shape their lives. And perhaps that is the deeper lesson from tonight's conversation. When those who have seen the pain up close decide to lead, leadership becomes more than ambition, it becomes responsibility. And from listening to you talk tonight, I'm getting that sense of responsibility. That is what I'm hearing. So let me again, one more time, say thank you, Dr. Alexander, for joining us. Dr. Donna, I turn it to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephenson. I, definitely echo Dr. Stephenson, Dr. Alexander. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming on and, just expressing passionately about the work that you've done and the work that you're doing and the future that you see ahead and all the problems that you are setting forth to solve. So I have faith that you're going to solve it, and I know you're going to solve it because you have the passion and you've definitely expressed that. I do thank our viewers for joining us this Monday evening. Know that we do not take your time for granted. So thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you being here with us. And just a reminder that we do have our upcoming shows on Wednesday. We have our Her Legacy at 7:30 p.m. That will be aired this coming Wednesday. We do have Bridging Generations. That is also on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And that will be with the gentlemen where they're speaking about that stuff because, we need a platform for men. We have to empower our men as well. And Doc, Wednesday, I'm missing one show.
Wednesday at 1 p.m. we have life-changing conversations that inspire actions.
Right. So a lot's going on for the week. However, it is Monday, so it's the beginning of the week. I ask for everyone to be safe and definitely be careful out there. However, go out and do an act of kindness. We charge you to go out and do an act of kindness. Yes, take care of your family, love your family, always be kind to your family. But we're instructing you to find a stranger and do something for a stranger, whether it's coffee, a burger, good morning, you look great, whatever it is. We're charging you to go out there and let's just start spreading kindness and love in our community and amongst each other. And so with that, have a wonderful Monday evening from In the Spotlight.
Into the spotlight. Couple lights on, cameras roll. Time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change. We open up your eyes. We got the voices that are